Welcome to Professional Seduction, the place to find, flirt, and fall in love with your career. I'm Chanel Caraway. Business leaders and industry experts will share tips and advice to help push your professional life forward. And if you're trying to figure out your career path, well, we'll help you out with that too. Joining us is William Ford. He's the president and CEO of K-Systems Solutions, here to talk all about becoming your own boss. May I also say that this man is my main squeeze, my main man, my husband. Thank you, babe, for being here.
Absolutely. It's great to be here.
So talk to me about transitioning from employee to entrepreneur. What did that entail?
So leaving the corporate world and that corporate structure and being beneath an umbrella was pretty challenging because you're used to things being done for you, right? You have an infrastructure in place, your computer's given to you, you have a manager in a lot of cases, and it's really, here's what you need to do and get it done. The challenges are doing everything on your own, especially initially when you start off. I mean, essentially you have to be the accountant, the legal representative for the company. You have to run everything from operations to sales to business development, and that can be really challenging. And then you also have to manage your time effectively, right? Whereas you're more so on a schedule, like if you're going to work within the corporate world. So those are all lots of challenges that I had to conquer and overcome, within my initial months at least of becoming independent.
Great. And we were dating when you were talking about and really flirting with the idea of leaving your job because you had a comfortable, prestigious job, and you were doing fine, but you weren't fulfilled, you weren't satisfied. And I remember us having the discussion, and I just said, just do it.
Yeah.
Just go.
Thank you for that.
Literally, you're welcome. Literally, you took off and you've been going nonstop ever since. Was it at all scary? Have there been moments of self-doubt or just you feel like there's just too much to accomplish and you can't just get a firm grasp on anything?
Not scary. And no self-doubt, but certainly challenging because it's essentially all on you, right? If you don't work, you don't eat.
Sink or swim.
Right,
Yeah.
Sink or swim, and that's a scary proposition. But I do think, though, if you have a vision, if you have passion, if you're willing to work hard, and if you have a decent amount of money to sustain you, because it's going to be a tough process in terms of getting customers and bringing money in, and so you need to survive in the meanwhile. So if you have those things in place, and the heart for it and the passion, most importantly, I think that eventually you can overcome like any obstacle that's in front of you.
What has been most fulfilling about it up to this point?
Lots of things, right? But one is the freedom and flexibility, right? That's amazing. You can't get that working a 9 to 5, right? So that's wonderful. The creative control, again, it's something that's pretty amazing. But also, I would say having the ability and the opportunity to hire people, to impact people's lives, and to empower people. That's very important to me.
So we're in business together. Like I left my full-time gig after you convinced me to just take the step, take the leap and do it. And I'll be honest, those first 3 months, I was like, oh my God, this is great. I can lay in the bed all day. I can go to the mall at 2 o'clock if I want to. But then I quickly realized I had to develop a better sense of accountability and I had to structure my day. I was so accustomed to structuring my day in my 9 to 5 job, but once I quote unquote broke free, I was just all over the place. So talk about self-discipline and how important that is in growing your business.
Oh, it's very important. If you don't have the self-discipline, I don't know how you succeed, right? Because it's easy to get up and just lay in bed until 12 o'clock
and binge watch Grey's Anatomy right. all over again.
And then you're eating breakfast at 1:30. I mean, it's easy to fall into that trap if you don't have discipline. So you have to set a regimen, right? So you have to have goals and you have to work toward achieving those goals. I mean, that's very important. Don't just set them and then set realistic goals, right? They can't be too lofty or easily attainable. Like neither of those make sense. So, but it takes a lot of self-discipline in being an entrepreneur and running a business. Otherwise, you don't have the structure that's necessary to be successful within that environment. Essentially, we're in IT, information technology, for those who don't know.
Yeah, dumb it down for us non-technical people. I'm a creative person, so
right.
Just layman's terms. Please.
Right, absolutely. An information technologies consulting firm. So that really consists of engaging clients on system implementation projects and integration projects. So just creating new systems pretty much or merging one system to another, right? So that's the IT piece of it from a consulting standpoint. Then there's the staffing. So putting bodies in seats, right? So clients come to us and say, listen, we have a need to fill this position for a business analyst, a project manager, et cetera. Can you find that person for us? And oftentimes we have to deliver that client, that candidate within like 2 days or less. So it's a quick turnaround. So that's the staffing portion of it. And then training obviously goes in hand with the rest. Like we have to prepare and train candidates properly to be successful within the workforce. And the fourth piece of it is a marketing component that we're introducing to the world that kind of ties into everything else, but we'll get to that in depth a little bit later on. So your question regarding, what was your question?
I don't even remember my question. We'll just move on. Thank you for talking about
what's next in the pipeline,
what's
right?
In the pipeline.
So
See, that's why you're my better.
Exactly,
you're
I got it, right? We picked each other up, right? So from a consulting standpoint, we're pretty good. So what happened was, because I did have success within the corporate world and made great relationships, I was able to transition some clients over to the business. So that was good, and we have a strong foundation there. Staffing is picking up for us, right? So that's the hot thing that we're working on right now. We recently picked up on a great client, and we closed on a great business deal, and they're throwing us more and more business. So that's really amazing. So, but next, I want to focus really more on the training piece of it and the marketing pieces of it, because those are areas where we can certainly exploit and increase our value within those areas, and just become a really well-rounded company. So from a case system solution standpoint, that's, I think, what's next in the pipeline. Personally, I definitely want to do more in terms of philanthropy and mentorship and that sort of thing, because giving back to me is the most important thing, even before business, to be honest with you, and have a nonprofit too that I'm working on as well. So those things are very important, and those, I would say, are the things that are next in the pipeline, business-wise and personally. And so I would say, actually, I want to make this point. That's also a huge part of success, is making sure that you partner with the right people that would allow you to be successful, like in the future. And then in terms of hiring, you also have to hire the right people who are just not skilled, but who are also great fits. From a personality perspective, from an ethical perspective, like these things are all important, right? And even taking on clients, I would personally pass up an opportunity to work with a client that I thought was unethical just for the money. So when you're grounded and rooted in ethics, morality, and making people better, I think that you have no choice, honestly, but to be successful, as long as you have a great idea and you're willing to work hard. And to your point, we passed up a lot of business because we felt that we didn't have the bandwidth to take that business on, and we want to do everything right. And and I'd rather do a few things great than a lot of things okay, right? And so that's kind of the framework in which we operate, and which I'm glad we're both on the same page with that. And so that's why we're really successful. So yeah, it's really important. It's really important. Just take on what you can handle. Of course, you got to push yourself, right? So you just don't want to be content and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a balance, but certainly you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. That's never going to lead to a great outcome.
Absolutely. So let's get under the covers. So we're married. We also own a business together. We, have friends who are in the same circle. Is it rough working with your spouse? We have a home-based business. We also have other offices, but the bulk of our work is done from home. We have a home office, but sometimes you're on the couch essentially. Is it rough, like waking up and I'm like got my hair wrapped up, haven't brushed my teeth, and then still at 3 o'clock I haven't taken my hair down, still haven't brushed my teeth? It's like, I remember what she used to look like when she got dressed for work. Is that an adjustment when you work together and you're also married?
A good question. So which answer do you want? No. So
don't get cute.
No. So it's not, number one, right? Because I think, so when it comes to that from a relationship standpoint, the tough part comes with making the initial decision. So I think that we made the right decision in choosing each other. And so everything after that was really easy. And by the way, no matter how you look at what you have on, you look beautiful. So it's all good. It's fine with me. And I couldn't think of anything else I would want to do is to wake up next to you and to start working every day.
Ladies, I found him on Match.com, by the way. He didn't want me to say it, but we found each other on Match.com. So maybe try out Match.com. Continue. You can continue with the flattery.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So no, it's not challenging at all. And then from a business perspective, again, like I've always worked best with people who have great personalities, who are smart, who are hardworking, who are visionaries, and who are creative. And you embody all those things. And so it's actually very easy and not difficult at all.
Well, I happen to agree. It's quite easy. And I have grown and learned at working alongside you just because of your discipline, your perseverance, because sometimes I'm like, this bank account looking real empty. And you're like, we're good. We're good. You're like, this is lined up. This is coming in. You know, I'm working with this person, so the wheels are constantly turning. So it's like on its face, being an entrepreneur can seem easy, but I have grown to quickly realize that it is far from easy.
Well, it's difficult, right? So when you're working a job essentially, and you're getting your paycheck, and you have a set amount of bills each month, and some of that money you get goes towards bills, and you may hang out and that sort of thing, but there's no reinvestment. But when you're in business, the money that comes in, not only do you have to pay your bills, but you have to reinvest back into the business, right? You have to hire people, you have to plan strategically for greater projects and bigger projects. So that's money that's being recycled back in to the business. So it's not like that, even though you're making a nice amount of money, it's not like it's just sitting there and it's accessible to you, right? So that's certainly a compromise that you have to make going into it.
Thank you so much for being here, William Ford, President and CEO of K-System Solutions. And thanks to all of you for tuning in again to Professional Seduction. As always, I have to shout out Born in Brooklyn Media for helping to make Professional Seduction happen. We'll see you next time.